Hey guys, I wanted to tell you about Kubla Cubed. It is a powerful piece of software that I found for doing takeoffs, especially if you've got any sort of print on a job that you're getting yourself into. You can do takeoffs, you can do volume calculations, you can do all sorts of stuff with this software. And I'm going to be totally honest with you, for the price point, you cannot beat it, and it is very simple, relatively speaking, to all of the other takeoff software options out there. So if you get a chance, check it out. It's called Kubla Cubed, and you can click the link below to grab it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's Down and Dirty was a request by you guys. It is how to know when to bench a hole, how to bench a hole, or slope a hole. So what I've done today is I've already dug down a hole, and we're sitting at, I would guess, probably about 3-ish feet of depth. And we're kind of getting to a point where I would consider benching. So if I knew someone was gonna get in this hole right about where we're at now, if you think about it, that's gonna be just under waist level. And so if something were to cave in and collapse, obviously it's gonna hurt somebody. Chances are it's not gonna kill them. Where you really start getting into the danger area is when you start getting over your waist to where dirt's going to fall and hit you in your torso. And so generally the rule of thumb, and in full disclosure, this is not an OSHA video. I am not giving you OSHA guidelines. Please do not quote me as being OSHA compliant. I'm just telling you the way we generally think about our jobs when we're out doing actual excavation. So right about this point, I may do another couple passes, but we're getting pretty close to the depth where I would consider benching the hole. And why do we bench the hole? It's really because if one of these slopes decides, or one of these sides of our trench decides to give way, you want someone in the hole to be safe. And let's think about that for a second. It's very easy to it's very easy to underestimate dirt. If you think about, if we were to walk over here and just try to carry that dirt clump right there, it looks like nothing for the machine. But if you can imagine going and picking that sucker up, that's a heavy clump of dirt. We all kind of conceptually understand that when we're looking at a clump of dirt sitting over there, or if that was a big rock that I need to go lift, we all inherently know that's heavy. But when we flip back over here to our trench, and we think about a section, you know, that's maybe kind of the size of the area that I just skimmed with my bucket, about like that, we all look at that and go, well, that's not that much dirt, that's not that heavy. Well, wait a second, we were just looking at that dirt clump over there and we all recognize that's heavy. You're talking about 10 times the amount of dirt? That's heavy, that's gonna hurt somebody. And so that's why we need to be concerned about benching holes, is because dirt is heavy and it also totally engulfs your body. When you're buried, you don't have any breathing room, and every time you exhale, the dirt tightens around you. So it's very important. You do not want dirt to go over someone's chest. So all that to say, to go back to our hole here, that's why when we go any deeper, we're gonna start to bench our hole so that our laborer can be safe. So the way we go about benching is pretty straightforward. We've got our hole right here. We'll take it down just a hair more. And I'm just doing a nice flat pass across the bottom. And now let's say we're doing some sort of a water tie on, and I know Ethan's got to get down in that hole. I don't want him in that little trench crouched down with those walls built up around him. And so we're gonna start to bench down. Now, one more key concept. I know I'm getting you guys excited that we're gonna do some dirt work and then I go back to talking. One more key concept. The type of material you're in matters. If this were soft sand, we would have benched way before this point because sand is much more prone to collapsing. This is hard packed clay. I know that there is a very small chance this dirt is gonna go anywhere because it's very hard packed clay. And there are classifications for materials. You can look them up online. OSHA has different classifications for materials, and there are different benching requirements for those different classifications of materials. I'm not gonna get into the technicalities. I'm just gonna talk about realistic on the job. This is hard packed clay. I would be very confident and comfortable with someone getting in that hole. If there was water at the bottom, even if you have something like hard packed clay, now you need to start to worry because water starts to undermine the bottom of the trench. And you may not see it because it's not obvious to you, but even though your banks are totally firm, they look great, that water may have worked its way back 8 inches to a foot into that bank, and you have all of that vertical dirt suspended on nothing. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to have cracks that start to form on the outside edge of your trench, and then that's going to give way and it's going to cave in. So anytime you have water in the hole, you also need to bench a lot earlier, and you need to be a lot more aware of what's going on in the hole. All that to say, let's get back to benching. We've decided we're going to bench. All we're going to do is we're going to go over here about a bucket width, and we're going to take another pass, and we're just going to start to get this down. I'm not worried about making a super deep bench right now. I just want to make it to where when my guy gets down in the hole, he's not going to be below chest level with dirt. So we're just going to take it, we're just going to keep working that shelf down. And that's okay that we're filling our trench in because we've already got our grade cut there. It's not a big deal. So we'll take this, we'll move it off to the side here. Now here's a key concept as well. This is not only good digging practice, it's required by OSHA and it's the responsible thing to do. We want to clean up our edges because the entire reason we're doing this is so stuff doesn't fall in our labor. And it would be a shame if we had spoils sitting on the edge that roll down and hit our labor. Not to mention it's adding extra weight to the sides of that trench. We don't want extra weight on the sides of our trench. So we're just going to clean up our spoils here and pull them back away from the hole. Then we're going to make our cleanup pass in our trench. And again, we're not going for digging depth here. We're just going to do a light drag on the bottom. We're going to pull back so we don't totally cover our bench in our spoils. Whoop! I should have emptied my bucket a little better there, shouldn't I have? I'm getting too focused on the recording and not the operating. So we'll come back. We'll just clean our bench up real quick. Just put it right in the hole because we're going to scoop it back out. Let's do our cleanup pass. And there you go. That is how we would bench the hole. And by the way, we would do that to both sides, but I'm going to use this side for another example. This is how we would bench the hole for this depth of a hole. That's why I wanted to keep this shallow, is because for this depth of a hole, we don't need a huge deep bench. Your bench doesn't have to be half of the depth that you are at your main trench. It just needs to be down to where your guy isn't going to be coated in dirt if it caves in on him. But now let's say we wanted to take that middle trench, our main trench there, we wanted to take that down to like 5 or 6 feet. We really wanted to go deep. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to bench this side over here to more of a full depth bench. And so we're going to do the exact same thing we did on the left side, except we're going to take it down about the depth of our main trench here, just shy. So we're going to get a little more aggressive on our dig, no big deal. It's going to make a mess of everything we've done so far. Again, no big deal. We are also going to pull our spoils away from the hole because we don't want that extra weight on the edge. And you can see it doesn't have to be pretty. I'm being messy, I'm shoving dirt all over the place. What matters is what's going on in the trench and what is on the edges of that trench. That's what we're concerned about. So we're going to take this on down. So that right there is a good level for a first step in a series of benches. And so now we can go in here, we can really bulk out our trench so that you can kind of see where we're at. getting our trench pretty cleaned up now. So this next pass, I'm actually gonna go clean my bench up. It's like the Prodigy song. Smack my bench up, wasn't that it? Any Prodigy fans out there? Comment down below if you're a Prodigy fan. Or am I alone? There you go, guys. That is a properly benched hole on the right-hand side that I could now take our main trench and I could go down another 3 feet safely, assuming that both sides were benched at the depth of this guy. Now you may say, Brian, what happens if we have to go to 12 feet? No big deal. All we're gonna do is step our benches down. So this bench right here is going to be stepped down. We'll just take him down a little bit more. No big deal, just for demonstration purposes. And now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna create another bench. And yes, I know my spoils on the right-hand side are getting close to the hole. Guess what? This is a demonstration, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have anyone going in this hole, not to mention this is unbelievably safe, what we've got here. In fact, let's talk about that. As newcomers to the industry, as an experienced individual, I know this hole is extremely safe. Even though our spoils are getting close to the hole, that's technically not OSHA compliant. There is no real risk of this thing caving in on someone down there in the main part of our trench. We have very hard packed clay. We have very aggressive benches for how shallow our main trench is. I would be comfortable all day long going down in that trench. That's why I wouldn't necessarily worried about the spoils on this one, but any sort of deep dig where you're really putting the benches, you know, right there to the max, you need to be aware of your spoils. But to go back to our point on hand, we've now got our left-hand bench, but look at the depth on that bench. It's starting to get a little much. No big deal. We're gonna widen out our hole and we're gonna create a second tier of benches. And we're just gonna step ourselves down. That's all you do with benching, is you step yourself down, and you gotta recognize, if you don't have a trench box or shoring of any sort to keep the hole safe when you're going deep, the only alternative is to dig wide. There's no getting around it. I would encourage you, do not cut corners, even if your employer asks you to. Do not cut corners in this area. That's how guys die every year, is by trying to keep a nice, small, tidy hole, even though you're 12 feet deep in the ground. What you're creating is a grave. And every year people discover that the hard way, unfortunately. So we're gonna clean up our second bench here, just tidy it up a little bit. Take some of these spoils out because we're starting to get quite a bit. We'll clean up our first bench, clean up our second bench. And look at there. Now we've got a hole that we can easily go about 12 feet, in all honesty. If we were benching this way, you could bench that first tier 4 feet, bench the second tier 4 feet, that gets you to 8 feet. That gets you to 12 feet here in our main trench with 2 steps on your benches. And again, just to reiterate for some of those who might be confused, I'm using the right-hand side of my trench and the left-hand side of my trench as 2 separate training areas. In a real dig, the left side of your trench needs to be benched. Let me flip that. The right side of our trench would need to be benched like the left side of our trench to go to 12 feet. You would need that step down on your benching in order to make that hole safe. By the way, that does include our far bank over there. We would need to bench that down as well. So I may need to move my machine around and go bench that other side for this hole to be totally safe. But that's the basics of benching a hole, and that's how you know how to do it. So as always, I hope this helps. We'll catch you on the next video.